Hi, this is Mark from LongIslandWatch.com. And when people talk about watch movements and what movement is better, they're always, I think in my mind, people are always talking about accuracy. Which one is more accurate? And it's not what movements are all about. I mean, obviously, it's a large part of it, but there's also reliability, maintainability, how tightly they can be tuned. All sorts of stuff goes into it. So to kind of just do a little, pull it out of the box kind of thing here, I took four watches, or I'm going to take four watches, all Seikos, with a 7S26, a 4R36, a 6R15, and an 8L35 movement. I'm going to put them all on the timegrapher. I'm going to measure them in five positions. I'm going to do dial up, dial down, crown up, crown down, crown left. Crown right is not really used that often. And we'll do it together and we'll look at the results at the end and we'll kind of see what happens. Now, again, this is totally, I pulled them out of the box. I'm not going to edit the results. I'm not going to go back and pick a different watch to get something different because I have a feeling the results are going to be all over the place. As far as the accuracy numbers. For my own wrist check, I got a Spinnaker, and I've got my Bambino still on the mesh bracelet. These mesh bracelets should be coming around April, as should be the sapphire crystals for these. So keep an eye out for those. I want to just mention one more thing about this video. I'm kind of doing it a little bit tongue-in-cheek. I don't mean anything by it, just because if it so happens that I didn't do it yet. I almost always film my intros, obviously, before I do the main part. But if a 6R15 performs worse than a 7S26, that doesn't, don't take much out of that. But I thought it would just be interesting to see the variability of how they come out of the box. So here's the setup I've got. I've got my timegrapher laid out on my table, and I have four watches. I've got a SKX 009. This has the 7S26 movement in it. This is the only one of the bunch that does not hand wind, so I've shaken it a great deal to get it as close to a full wind as possible, because when they run low on power, they do run inaccurately. I've got one of the newer SRPC models. What is this? SRPC 57. Oh, you couldn't see it. I could see it with my eyes. This runs on the 4R36 movement. There we go. For our 6R15, we're going to use a Sarbo 35. And for the 8L35, we'll use the MarineMaster SBDX 023. Now, I have taken each watch, as I said, with the 7S26, I shook it a great deal. With the rest of these, I wound them with the crown as much as I could to get them to a full wind. And I made a little chart, and I will fill this in as appropriate. So on the 7S26, I'm going to measure dial up, dial down, crown down, crown left, and repeat for all the movements. So let me just go over what all that means. So dial up, dial down, crown up, crown down, and then crown left, if you can get like that. Normally, the sixth position of watches is crown right, but this is a position that's almost never encountered, so I'm not going to test it in this instance. I'll do all five positions, and then I'll show you the results of everything. So we're going to start with that SKX 009 in the dial up position. And I don't know if you can see, I think you can certainly see it. It's running about +4 to +5 seconds a day. I am not going to discuss, talk about, or touch, as I talk, I might throw it off, or touch the amplitude or beat error. It looks like actually she's settled down at +8. So I'm going to record +8, and then I'll go through the rest of the motions. Okay, so we're all done. I just finished with the 8L35, and here are the results. So I'm going to actually just stand and do this because I think it's just easier. So I got the 7S26, the 4R36, the 15, and the 8L35. And you'll look at the data and you'll say, well, this one ran slow, this guy's run fast, this guy ran fast. But you need to really dig into the data to really look. So let's look at the 7S26. We'll talk about each one just for a few minutes. Let's look at the 7S26. So dial up and dial down, it ran very consistent, which is to be expected because there's not much difference in friction of the watch when it's this way or this way. Ran +8 to +9. So that's pretty good. And then crown up, crown down, crown left. You'll see this was actually very consistent, even for a 7S26. +5, +6, +7. The average there being +6. So +6 in the in the perpendicular positions, and like 8.5 is the average in the dial positions. And then you'll notice that the maximum deviation from the largest, when they time watches, they give all sorts of different statistics data. I'll just talk about the maximum deviation. +9 is the highest, +5 is the lowest. So this has a deviation of 4 seconds. This 7S26 is very good. It's running excellent. It's not running chronometer, but it's running excellent. And this would be a watch that some people get and they'd say, wow, it's running rock solid. It really is. I mean, look at the variation in all the positions. For, a luck of the draw, 009 that I pulled out, which they can vary 30, 40 seconds out of the box. This one is excellent. Again, it's not indicative of all of them. I happen to probably get lucky with this one. Let's go on to, I just want to say one more thing. So you say, hi, I'm gonna crack this guy open and slow it down a bit. You can move the regulation lever. I know you guys have the tiniest amount, and all these +8s and 9s will go down to -30 in a heartbeat. So you wouldn't touch this. It's doing great. Moving on to the 4R36, was really just a 7S26 with hand winding hacking and a couple other updates to it. You'll see again, dial up and dial down, fairly consistent, +6 and +4. It's running fast, average of +5 in the dial positions. And then you notice in the crown positions, it is a little wacky. We got a -3, a -9, and a +7. So you can figure out what the average there is. I wasn't going to work out all the math. But here you'll see that the maximum deviation from the slowest to the fastest is 15 seconds. So supposedly this is a better movement. It has a worse deviation than the movement before it. Does it mean it's bad? No, not at all. And I actually consider this watch to be running fairly well. You notice that it's running slow in some of the crown positions and fast in the dial positions. So throughout the day, where's the watch? Here it is. So throughout the day, as you wear it in this position, this position, this position, this position, this position, your arm moves through all these positions. You're averaging out to be pretty good. You're probably going to get a really decent daily deviation out of this one. Again, when we measure these positions, we're measuring just one rock-solid position. But who sits with their arm all day and dial up? Nobody does. Your arm goes through all different positions the entire day. Moving on to the 6R15. Really good. It's a little slow, sure, but really good. Very tight results in the dial position. And in the lateral positions, not bad. It's running consistently slow. Your max deviation goes from -6 to -1, so it's a 5-second max deviation, which again is not horrible. These are unregulated. I don't think they do the 6R15 in more than one position, or maybe they do 2 positions. I'm actually not sure. And if we flip it over, I don't think it's like the Swiss where they say regulated to X number of positions. But still, it's very good. You as a user, and a lot of you like your watches to run fast, you probably want to bump this watch up just a little bit. But again, the 6R15 also lacks fine adjustment. Okay, so that's the 6R15. And then moving on to the MarineMaster, the one that's on the timer now. Beautiful results. Very low spread, but not as different than this as a 7S26, just a little bit more in tune with what a chronometer runs. Chronometers are +6, -4, and then through temperatures and everything else. This guy is running on my $100 timegrapher, so some of these results need to take with a little grain of salt. In the dial-ups, he's averaging out a +6. And in the crown positions, he's averaging out a +4. So he's doing excellent. His maximum deviation is from 3 to 7, so his maximum deviation is 4 seconds. And oddly enough, it's kind of on par with the 7S26. But this guy, I should be able to take all of them that I have in stock, and I have a few. I should be able to take all of them and get similar results, because that's what the 8L35 movement gets you. It doesn't just get you accuracy, it gets you accuracy in different positions, and that's what you pay for. And you also pay for regulation capability, long-term maintainability, all those other good things. And just if you crack well, you can't crack off the back of the watch. I don't know if you know that MarineMaster does not have a removable case back. Everything goes in through the front. But if you can see the movement is a piece of art in itself. Anyway, I think that about wraps it up. This has been Mark from LongIslandWatch.com showing you a bunch of different watches on the timegrapher. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, and hit the bell so you know when new videos come out. I don't even know what I was saying. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. If you have any questions or comments, put them down below, and I'll be sure to address them as soon as I can. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.